Hey guys, I'm David with Media Unlocked, and in today's tutorial we're going to go over the answers that a lot of you asked a couple weeks back about the Magic Lantern firmware update, because a lot of you have a lot of questions and understand how things work. So I went through and I'm going to try to answer all your questions to the best of my knowledge here. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into your questions, and after that I'm going to go through, I'm going to kind of explain how to use the Magic Lantern firmware update once again for the people that might have missed my other videos. Plus I have a little more knowledge on it and I can explain it to you guys a little bit better now. Also, I'm going to go over how you can erase your videos and photos without having to reformat your card, so you don't have to remount the card and put the Magic Lantern firmware back on the card, because that's kind of a tedious thing to do. So I'll show you guys how to do that as well. Also, there has been a new build update that got put out, I think mid last month. I'm going to put that down in the description section below. As well, there'll be two links to Magic Lantern firmware questions and stuff. I found two links that kind of explain quite a bit of stuff, that kind of break down what every setting does. And so if you want to go check that out, those links will be down there as well, so you can go get a more refined description of some stuff if I just kind of touch on it. Also, I just want to thank Commander HT for telling me about the new build. I didn't even know it was out. It was actually another YouTuber that just stopped by and let me know that they put out a new build, so I recently updated my camera with that. So anyways, let's jump right into it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on the camera. So we're going to go on and hit on. And the first thing you really want to do after you turn the camera on is go on and hit, if you notice down here, there's my thumb. If you hit the photo button once, goes to photos, and one more time, then takes it back out of photos. And if you notice, all that extra writing and stuff that was here is all gone now. So we're going to go on and hit the delete button. And the first question was the time-lapse function. A lot of people want to know what the time-lapse function is. So we're going to scroll down to shoot and put it into the time-lapse function. Actually, we're going to switch over to video or photography, photos. That's where most people use the time-lapse function. So we're over under shoot. And right now I have my take a picture every 10 seconds. Now what you have to do to start your time-lapse function, you have to turn on this, which is your interval meter. Once you turn that on and hit your delete button, one more time, it goes back out. So say you want to take a picture, we'll go on and put it in manual because it's not going to take a picture because I got it pointed at a black screen right now. So, and now if you wait every 10 seconds, what it's going to do is it's going to take another picture for me. And a lot of people have been using that for, say, the most I've read on the internet is that people were using this time-lapse function up to a couple days, maybe stopping it for half an hour at a time to upload pictures and then put the card back in and then go back at it, and the camera hasn't seemed to have any problems, which is good. Now to turn it off, just go back into hit your delete button, go back into shoot, and click off. So we'll switch back to video mode now. So that's kind of how your time-lapse function works, and it's a great feature if you want to like catch a sunset but you don't want to be there. Set it up on your tripod and pretty much just set it up. If you want to take one every 5 seconds, every 10 seconds, and it goes on up to maybe like every minute or 2 minutes or something, it will just snap a shot for you. Alright, so the next question someone asked was what's the main sound output? So for your main sound output, that's pretty simple. It should already be set up for you. So let's just scroll over to audio, and it should say input internal mic. That's your main sound output. So that's what you want to use with your main sound. So hopefully that answers your question there. Okay, a couple people asked what rack focus is. Now this is kind of a hard thing to explain a little bit, but we're going to switch over to the focusing menu. Right here. Okay, so pretty much what rack focus is it allows you to jump from focus to focus on something. So say you're taking a picture, you can kind of set up to where you want to focus, and every second it's going to move a little bit to, I think, like the left or whatever, or the right, and it will focus. It's a kind of, I kind of tried to read up on it, but it was kind of confusing. I don't really use rack focus at all, but mainly what it does is it allows you to focus from the foreground to the background to the midground. So pretty much it's allowing you to focus. So if you had like a bunch of items set up, kind of where you're able to see all three items kind of like a diagonal or whatever, you can focus from each one of those. And in the link down in my description bar, one of the pages, it really breaks down what rack focus is. So if you go check that out, just go down to where it's the focus section, and then you can read up on the rack focus. Someone else had asked kind of what all these different focus settings mean, and pretty much kind of self-explanatory. The focus DIR has to do with near and far focus pretty much. Again, if you go check out the link down in my description bar, the website really breaks down these specific settings to really explains them really well. So you should check it out if you really want to know more in-depth details. And then you got your focus A, and actually that really doesn't. That has to do with, I believe, your focus DIR. And then you have your run stack focus. I think what run stack focus is, it takes multiple pictures, and it kind of screws up my camera. So I don't use the run stack focus. When I try to run it, it kind of freezes my camera sometimes. I don't understand why, but it does. So that's a little bit about the focusing settings. Again, check out the link in my description bar, and it will really break it down a little bit more than what I can explain. So, okay, a lot of people ask what Qscale and Bitrate is, and again, there's a separate link that really breaks down Qscale and Bitrate, but I'm gonna touch on it and try to explain it to you the best of my knowledge. Okay, so we're gonna go down to debug, and this is your Qscale. Now I have my Qscale set at 16 right now. So what that means is the highest quality I can possibly get out of this camera with the Magic Lantern firmware. Now 16, you need a good class 10 card, probably like a SanDisk class 10, and you can shoot at 16 scale supposedly. I have the Transcend class 10 16 gigs, and I can't get more than like 10 seconds with 16. So 10, if you set it around 10 right here, if you notice it says 10, this is about what you're getting right now out of your camera without the Qscale. So anything over 10, like 11 and 12, is going to be higher quality than what the T2I gives out. So I can set mine to 12, and I'm able to get a little bit higher quality. I think even up to 13 I've been able to set it, and it doesn't pretty much stop, give me that error message. Actually, let's put it on 16. I'll show you what happens when you get, so we got it at 16. We're going to hit the delete button, and I'm going to go on and record. And in a couple seconds, while it's recording, if you notice it says movie recording has been stopped automatically. That's because the Qscale, the quality is too high for my card to handle. My card buffer can't handle all that. So therefore, I have to put it down, I think, at like a 12 or 13. Like, I think I can pop it in 13 and be fine. So we'll throw in 13, and you can see it's recording now. I don't know how long I can record on 13. The buffer will eventually catch up probably, so it's still less time than if I didn't have the Qscale on at all, but it's higher quality than what the T2I, gives you right now with the Qscale off. So that's kind of a breakdown on your bit rate. Let's go on to stop recording here, hit the delete button, we'll go back into the settings. Next was the auto power off settings. Okay, for this is actually has nothing to do with Magic Lantern, and I hope I'm getting your question right here. I guess my understanding was your question is, like if you have, like we got the camera on right now, and then it will just randomly, the shutter will shut, and while you're in the middle of shooting or something. Well, not when you're shooting, but if your camera's kind of on standby. So what you're gonna do is you hit menu, you're gonna go down to your first wrench. I have my auto power set to, as you can see, 4 minutes, so this isn't gonna, it's not gonna sit, my camera will sit there with the shutter open, if I'm like talking to an actor or something like that, and it's not gonna shut off. Most people's is set to 30 seconds, so after 30 seconds your shutter will shut, and then you have to go up and hit your shutter release button or your picture taking button up in the front to get your shutter to open back up and start shooting again. So I have mine set to 4 minutes. Mainly what that is, it's supposed to be like a power saver. So that's how you fix the LCD just randomly going off on you, or the shutter closing. So you go to menu, then you go to your first rinse, and you click auto power off, and you can go in and you can set it to where it never, you can set it to 8 or 15 minutes, or you can just turn it off altogether, and your shutter will just always stay on, so it won't just go off on you randomly. Or I didn't understand that, or you were asking the question of why does your LCD go off sometimes when using Magic Lantern? Now, I've had this problem from time to time, and I don't know why. The best way to fix it is to take your battery out of your camera and put it back in your camera. And then usually that fixes it. But I have had problems where when I'm shooting with the Magic Lantern firmware on my card, it will randomly just shut off. And I don't know why. There are still some bugs and quirks with Magic Lantern. It's not a perfect software. I mean, it's not made by Canon, so it still works great, but just, you know, that's just something you kind of have to deal with. If you notice, your screen will flicker sometimes when you're hitting this. It's just a problem. If you're always knowing the screen's just flickering down here, I don't know why it does it, but that's just a problem with the Magic Lantern software. All right. Okay. Someone wanted to know about the LCD override. All right. So the LCD override, or the LCD remote setup, my bad, the LCD remote setup. Okay, so how the LCD remote setup works is we'll go to, I believe that's under shoot. So we'll go down, scroll down to shoot, and we'll turn it on, and it has two options. It says near or away. So we'll set it to near to start off with, and we'll hit the delete button. Okay, so now what it's going to do is it's going to take a picture. We'll switch over to manual. Okay, so now with that LCD, so it's going to take a picture by just me. If you notice, it has a little sensor right up here, and it's just going to take a picture every time I put my finger in front of it. Now, far away means I can be a little bit further back, and it will do the same thing. Hold on a second, turn this off, and I don't have to be as close to this sensor, and it will take a picture. So that's what that's for. So say you don't have an external remote and you wanted to set your camera on a tripod, and you have your settings set to, say, bulb, and you don't want that shake from the shutter speed because it's so low. You don't want that shake. You can just set it to LCD near or far or away and just go wait, and it will take a picture for you without you ever touching your camera, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Not something I plan to use. I have an external remote, so it works great. But that is how the LCD remote setup works. All right, so now what I'm going to go through, and just kind of explain the Magic Lantern. These are all the questions that people ask. If I somehow missed your question, leave a comment underneath this, and I will try to go in and answer it for you. Again, I try to be on Skype. I know a couple people tried to contact me the last couple of days, and I haven't been around, but I'm sorry about that. But I'm trying to be on Skype, DAVIDDIMAGES. Hit me up there. I'd be more than happy to ask your questions or answer your questions. All right, so let's scroll back down to video, and let's kind of just go over the Magic Lantern settings once again. First off, if you want to delete everything on your camera but not reformat it, we're going to hit menu. We're going to go to the first blue, and if you notice it says erase images, so we're going to click erase images, and we're going to select all on card, or if you just want to do specific ones, you can do that as well. We're going to hit OK. So now it's going to erase everything. So it erased everything on my card. Card's got nothing on it now, but I did not format it, and the Magic Lantern is still on my card. So we'll hit menu again, and there is the Magic Lantern. All right, so we will start on audio, and we will kind of go through it. Your audio meters is set to where it's only going to show, I guess, when you're not shooting photos. And if you notice, your audio meters are up here at the top, which are great. I just love these audio meters. Now you can go through and do your audio output volume, analog gain, and this is an AGC. Now this is where it says AGC right here. This is where a lot of people were having problems with that, like extra kind of almost that staticky kind of sound in the very, very background. If you listen real closely, where that's kind of cut that away with that. monitor, and some of these new settings, I truthfully don't even know what they are. You got digital filters, and I don't know what all the digital filters do. Video. Okay, you got histogram. Now, I don't know if you know what a histogram is, but that's to help you with your color. So we'll turn this off. This is your histogram up here. This is your lights and your darks is what it kind of shows you. So it helps you, especially with photography. Histograms are very big when it comes to photography, and it looks like my camera's about to die on me here. That's no good. So the histogram is really cool. Now zebra, if you guys don't know what zebra is awesome. Turn the zebra on, and right now it's going to be all blue. So it shows me blue when it's when the contrast is under, and it shows me red when it's over contrast. So right now I'm pointing right at a black backdrop, so it's way under contrast, and so it's going to give me all blue to let me know that my colors are way off for this shot. Now zebra works. I don't use it too often, but it is great. It kind of breaks down your colors for you, lets you know if it's too dark or too light. Next is crop marks. You can turn your crop marks. Actually, this says crop marks, but it doesn't let me turn it on, so I don't know what that's at. That's with this new build. You got your spot meter, half shutter, so you can set up how you want to push your shutter. You have HDR bracketing, which I haven't figured out exactly how it works, but I was reading about it and it's pretty cool. Mainly, you can set up like a time lapse, so you're taking HDR photos with the time lapse, so it will go in and do your metering, so that it gives you like a negative and a positive EVO, I believe is what it's called. And which is really cool, or it's EV, so if you notice that says EV, and so it will go through and give you, and you can set it with your time lapse so that you're getting HDR photos and time lapse, which is really cool. I'm definitely going to test that out here very soon, because I think that's really cool that you can go in and shoot HDR, and it does everything for you where you don't have to click or anything. It will just do it automatically for you, so you don't get that blur or whatever, because when you're shooting HDR photos, you don't want to be moving your camera at all, because you need to take the same exact photo with different exposures so it looks right once you add them all three together. If you have even the slightest move in your camera, you'll notice that some things don't line up right. So that's kind of cool that you can do that. You have the LCD remote shot, which I was showing you, where you're able just to go up here and just not even touch the camera, and it just cinches your finger. Audio remote shot, have no idea what that is. Trap focus. Trap focus just helps you with your focus, pretty much. I mean, that's just the best way to explain it. Flash, no flash. I truthfully don't know what that is either. They got quite a few new settings in this new build, and I'm a little stumped. I haven't gone over all these new settings yet. Silent picture, I'm guessing you can take pictures silently. I don't know. And then you got your live mode zoom. So exposures, again, you can do your ISO, which is just fantastic. You can go in and set your ISO. You now can set your shutter speed, white balance, contrast, light adjust. So there's some really cool new features under exposure that we didn't have in the last build. Focus, again, if you really want detailed description of what focus does, check out those links down below. Debug, now you got your Qscale and debug, and the other big thing in debug is where it says, right underneath Qscale, it says save configuration. Now, so say you configure your camera how you want it, you got to change out your battery, you notice your battery's about to die, you go in, you click save it, set. So now it's going to save all those settings for me. So next time I turn the camera on, it's going to have those settings saved for me, and I can keep on shooting. I would always double check, but it should save everything how you wanted it before. And then you have all these other things, and I just really wouldn't mess with most of them, because I believe a lot of them have to do with camera stuff, and I just would not screw around with them. So hopefully that explains a little bit about the Magic Lantern firmware update 1.0.9. Other questions that people have been asking me is, does this void my Canon warranty? I do not know if this voids your Canon warranty or not. I do know the best way to get it off is really, you can do one of two things. Just reformat your card. Yes, Magic Lantern is still going to be on your camera, so if you really want to get rid of it completely off your camera, re-download the newest firmware update from Canon, which I think is 1.0.9, and reinstall it, and that will completely erase Magic Lantern off your camera. So just reinstalling the real firmware from Canon will get rid of your magic lantern. Will get rid of magic lantern right here on your Canon. So anyways, thanks for stopping by, and how should I end this? Well, I hope this helped you guys out a little bit, and if you have any questions, again, leave comments down below, and I'd be more than happy to answer them. Also, part 2 of the Canon T2I walkthrough functions will... Alright guys, well I hope this helped you out a little bit, and feel free to leave comments or send me messages, and I'll try to do my best to answer your questions. I've done quite a few of these magic lantern videos, so I'm probably not going to be doing any more anytime soon, because I probably have 4 or 5 of them on my channel now. Unless some new build comes out or some new big thing comes out for the magic lantern, this will probably be the last video I do, so just leaving comments and I'll just do my best to answer them. As well, hit me up on Skype, DAVIDDIMAGES. Also, part 2 of the breakdown of the Canon T2I will be out sometime this weekend. I haven't shot it yet, but I'm planning on shooting it probably Friday, and so you'll probably see it sometime maybe Saturday, and we'll try to see if we can't get the rest of everything the T2I has to offer in this next video. So hopefully the first one helped you out.